We have some more updates coming from the conflict to discuss. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kyiv expects clarity on new security guarantees within the next 7 to 10 days. He added that once an understanding is reached, Ukraine plans to move forward with a series of bilateral and trilateral leaders' meetings. Zelensky also made clear that China will not be a part of the security framework. He said Beijing was excluded because it did not provide assistance to Ukraine after Russia's full-scale invasion. Now we move on to some more updates. According to reports, Ukraine will commit to purchasing $100 billion worth of American weapons and strike a $50 billion deal with the United States to produce drones, and all in an effort to secure US guarantees for its security after a peace deal with Russia. The report states that Europe will finance Ukraine's $100 billion weapons commitment to the United States. The proposal also includes a $50 billion deal to produce drones with Ukrainian companies which have become experts in the technology following the start of the conflict. Ukraine's locally developed long-range Flamingo cruise missile has begun mass production. The Flamingo missile is designed for strategic strikes at ranges of up to 3,000 kilometers. These features were cross-referenced and seem to align closely with the FP5 cruise missile, previously displayed by the UK-based Millennium Group at the Index 2025 Defence Exhibition. We now move on once again to further updates. Ukrainian President, apologies there, we have. Professor Popovsky, I wanted to come to you first once again. The Ukrainian president says he expects clarity on new security guarantees between 7 and 10 days. What type of assurances are you looking for here, military, economic, or political?
Well, definitely they need to be clarified because there are different suggestions from different parts. And for that matter, obviously, United States can provide Air Force, British and French can provide troops on the ground. It should look very much like Article 5 of the NATO treaty, which basically says that after the ceasefire or the peace deal, any further attack by Russia on Ukraine, every single bullet coming from Russia will be responded with the entire force of NATO, including United States, including all the other members. No less than that will satisfy Ukraine because they are victim of attack over 3.5 years. They lost so many civilian lives. Everything Georgi said is absolutely Kremlin propaganda. Ukraine doesn't target Russian civilian targets, only military targets. So for that matter, Russia is an aggressor. Russia is a war criminal every day, every week. So the end of the conflict under international law should come with strong security guarantees. And for the moment, we don't see very much clarity. And that's exactly what President Zelensky is seeking for, to clarify before eventual meeting with President Putin.
Okay, Professor Tolerai, I just want to finish with you. Zelensky does say that Kyiv is close to securing new security guarantees. How does Moscow view these efforts? And we are running out of time here, so if you could keep your answer brief, that would be amazing.
All right, I won't comment on my colleague Veselin's remarks, but I would say that Zelensky and Ukraine is not in a position to determine what kind of guarantees they will satisfy or which are not satisfied. First, you should win on the battlefield before being able to dictate your conditions. And the security guarantees we're talking about, I think the general idea that it should be taken by the permanent members of the UN Security Council is absolutely sound and in conformity with international law. I don't think that Russia will ever agree to foreign troops stationed in its neighborhood, especially a hostile neighbor hostile NATO troops. So that's not a non-starter. That's a non-starter. So we should find for some solution which will include political guarantees of non-aggression and non-conflict, because we are sure that Ukrainians, even after the peace deal, after they sign the peace, will provoke the Donbass and other their former regions, and they will present it as if Russia is attacking. So this will be just a continuation of the conflict. We should find a lasting solution, which would include the UN permanent member security guarantees.
Yes, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. Professor Veselin Popovsky and Professor Toloraev, thank you for taking the time to speak to us. We have a further update just to finish off